Hey everybody, welcome to Weight Loss for Women Over 40. Today I am talking about one of my favorite things ever, and it's visualization and creating the dream body that you want. So, if you're new here, welcome to the podcast. My name is Nikki T, and I was a former professional ballet dancer back in my younger years, and I just am a very visual person. And when I was dancing, I would always take the time to envision myself doing the performance, doing the choreography, whatever it was. And I would spend a lot of time imagining how it would feel to be on stage, how it would feel to be doing four pirouettes on point, how it would feel to be partnering in this pas de deux that I wanted to, the role that I wanted. So I spent a lot of time visualizing. And I know that not everybody is a visual person. Some people are auditory, kinesthetic, all that. But I hope that you will indulge me with today's episode and really dive into creating that dream body of yours. So when you are visualizing, and I think as adults, we're kind of shamed about this, right? So when we were little and we were in school, we would daydream a lot, and you probably got in trouble for daydreaming. I want to encourage you to do that more as an adult. Okay? It doesn't have to be all day long, but take some time out to imagine your future, to imagine that dream body that you want. And when I say dream, I want to be very clear that it's not unattainable. When you say dream, that doesn't mean, oh, I wish I will get there. I hope I'll get there. That's too wishy-washy, right? Let's start going to the space of dreaming so it can become a reality. And we live in a very reality-based world. I get it. Sometimes it drives me a little bit nuts because here's the thing. We live in a society that is typically scarcity driven. Don't get too big for your britches. Stop reaching for the stars because you'll only be disappointed or things like that. But here's what I want to offer you. If people didn't dream, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. We would not have computers. We would definitely not have the internet. And we wouldn't have airplanes. We wouldn't have a lot of the things that we have. Can you imagine the Wright brothers back in the day saying they were going to throw this hunk of metal up in the air and have it fly? And I was just listening to something about the story of the Wright brothers, and I don't quote me on this, but it was like 4 years from the time they got the airplane up in the air and were doing their thing, 4 years until people caught on to what they were doing and how amazing this was. Fast forward now, how many of you get on a plane and don't even think about the process that it and the dream that it probably was to get that big bucket of bolts up in the air and to keep it up in the air? To me, this always blows my mind. I don't, maybe one day I'll go into the actual mechanics of how that actually happens. I don't know, but the fact that that thing can fly in the air for as long as it does and not crash, in theory, just blows my mind. But my point in that is if you start looking around, even the car that you drive, the things that you use on a regular basis, someone created that out of essentially nothing, right? They had a thought and they were like, ooh, that sounds interesting. And they made it their reality. So when you start dreaming of your dream body, just know that it is 100% possible to get that dream body of yours. And as soon as your brain starts offering you things like, that's not possible. Oh, do you remember those 9,000 other diets that we tried and failed at? Just let your brain, I help you all on this in my program, but for now, just let your brain be like, yeah, I hear you. We're not going there today. So think of the thoughts that you have about this body that you want, right? And spend some time. I really want you to get into the body, the thoughts that this body has, like this leaner version of you. And again, don't cheat yourself on your dream. I want you to dream so big that if you were to tell anybody other than me, they'd be like, you crazy. Allow yourself to dream big with your body because it can be 100% possible for you. There's this thing called the crab effect. And if you haven't heard this, this is kind of an interesting concept. So if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, they will not, like they literally, if they were smart enough, they would kind of stack each other up on each other and then climb out of the bucket, right? I mean, they've got big claws, they can anchor onto things, but that's not the case. They don't. Anytime a crab starts trying to crawl up that bucket or whatever they're in, there one below it will drag it and pull it back down. And this is how I feel it is with dreams. I hate to tell people to be careful of who you tell your dreams to, but be selective, I think is probably more of a better word. Someone that you trust, someone that's going to go, hell yeah, that is an awesome idea. I can't wait to see your new body without sounding weird, right? I can't wait. Somebody who's going to support you, someone's going to be like, keep going, it's available to you. Because there's a lot of people out there that are going to knock you down. They're going to be that crab that pulls you back down into the bucket. Don't let that happen to you. So make sure you tell people that you trust your dreams. Write it in a journal. You can even burn the journal after you're done. So when it comes to weight loss, right, there is this element of time in order for your body to catch up to the dream that you are creating. And I want to be very clear that that is important that we take that time because on a physical level, if you lose weight too fast, one, your brain doesn't, big one, your brain does not have time to catch up. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, you may see a leaner version of yourself, but you still imagine yourself as the heavier version that you were. So allow your brain the process to get on board with this leaner body of yours, right? As you physically change. So I always give the caveat 1 to 2 pounds a week. Two is pretty much max if you're counting the pounds. Because again, as we're older, ladies, we are over 40, and if you're in your 50s, the skin does not adhere as quickly as it would if you were in your 20s. That's just the reality of it. Okay. But if you don't want as much saggy skin, do your weight loss slow. It allows the skin to pull and retract with the muscle. Combined with the weight loss, you also want to be doing some sort of weight training, building those muscles, because that's what fills out the skin. So I cannot encourage you enough to take your time when you are losing your weight. I promise you, if you're in my program and you are losing weight on a steadily basis, usually 1 pound is what I like to see for most people. Um, the biggest thing I keep telling my clients is like those pounds are never coming back. As you lose 1 pound at a time, they're never coming back. So you don't have to worry about those. Unlike when you go on a diet and you lose 20 pounds super fast, you're super afraid that it's going to come back. And chances are it probably will if you're following a diet. So your body needs time to physically adapt to the physical changes that are happening in your body, okay? But your brain can go there immediately. Your brain can spend time in leaner version of you right now, right here today. So what I want to encourage you to do is to find some time, set aside some time, set a timer if you need to, trap yourself in the bathroom if you have kids or someone who is constantly needing of your attention. Lock the bathroom door, set a timer, make sure your alarm is something peaceful and chimey and beautiful. So when it goes off, it doesn't like jolt you out of reality, okay? Actually, back into reality. But I want you to take the time to close your eyes and really imagine what this new version of you is like. How do they operate in the world? How do they do different things? How do they feel in their body? Things like that. Take the time, set a timer for 5 minutes, and go do this today. And when your brain starts offering you the fact that you can't do it or it's a pie in the sky type thing, again, I hear you, brain. We're not listening to you today. I'm going to be daydreaming. Do this on a regular basis. And the more times you do it, the more times you are going to see how you're going to operate very differently in your world. So one of the things that I have started to do, and I have been doing in the past, but I'm doing this on a little more consistent basis, is I am giving bonus material inside my Jumpstart program. So this podcast is going to be linked into the Jumpstart program, and the bonus material is a visualization checklist. So this is my checklist that I feel is super important and so helpful for you to get into that zone of imagining that lean body that you want. This is going to solidify that daydream so you can just do the checklist every time you lock yourself in the bathroom. So you're getting ready to daydream, pull out that checklist and look at it and go through it as you're daydreaming, and take the time to read the one checklist and then daydream it. Read the next one and daydream it. This is going to be so super helpful for you to really get you into that state of that leaner version of you. And I'm telling you, you do this on a regular basis, watch how quickly the pounds come off and how you feel in your leaner body. That is going to be here very shortly. So if you want access to that bonus material, you have to join the Jumpstart program. So head to weightlossforwomenover40.net/group. You can find out everything that is included in it. I have some amazing content inside the Jumpstart program, along with some bonus materials, my stress-free eating guide, and making weight loss very easy is a new course that I am adding in this week. So get in there so you can lose the first 10 pounds in a simple and easyable? There's a new word for you. A simple and easy, doable way in the first 12 weeks. Okay. So when you join the Jumpstart, the goal is to lose 10 pounds in the first 12 weeks. Then for the rest of the year, because you're in for a year, you continue to hone on those skills. You get coaching from me. There's a community of supportive women that will also be there to help and celebrate with you as you go through this change. So again, if you want to join the Jumpstart program, highly recommend get in there now. It is weightlossforwomenover40.net/group. I hope that you take the time out today to daydream your leaner version of you. If you like this podcast, if you like this episode in particular, or if you have friends that you just don't know how to, they keep talking about dieters mentality and you're like, oh, I wish they would kind of learn some of this stuff, please send them to the podcast. Share the podcast with them so they can also get the information as well. I do not have sponsors for my podcast, much to a lot of my hosting equipment that keeps reminding me that I should be monetizing my podcast. I don't, because there's a part of me that doesn't feel like that's fair to you guys, in the sense of I want you to be focused on what I am telling you and how it's going to be so super helpful to you. And I don't want this to be like all of a sudden I'm talking and then like, oh, by the way, go to XYZ and get whatever. That drives me nuts, especially when I'm listening to things. So I would like to keep this podcast non-sponsored and non-advertiser. I am having trouble with words today. Not have to advertise it or have advertisements on this. So if you do like this podcast, please send it, share it, follow it. That helps the podcast get out into the world. If you really love it and you have a minute or two, please write a review. That would be awesome. Okay. So recap on daydreaming. Do not allow anyone to tell you what your dreams can and cannot be. I wouldn't share them with anybody unless you really trust them and you know that they're going to boost you up and support your dream. Take time out and daydream as much as you possibly can. It's going to get you into that space where you will eventually, in a very short amount of time, become that leaner version. And if you need help with this, get into the Jumpstart group today, weightlossforwomenover40.net/group, and you're going to get that bonus visualization checklist. All right, that is all for me today. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful, fantastic, wonderful day, and I will either see you inside the Jumpstart or I will catch you on the next episode. Take care.